Hello everybody, I am Shaina Midi Akain from Section 5. This time, we will unravel two test items from EDA 533, Assessment in Learning 1, and EDA 535, Assessment in Learning 2. Let us start with test item number 3. Other than finding out how well the course objectives were met, Teacher K also wants to know his students' performance when compared with other students in the class. What is Teacher K interested to do? A. Authentic evaluation. B. Formative evaluation. C. Criterion referenced evaluation. Or D. Norm referenced evaluation. The correct answer is in letter D. Norm referenced evaluation. Norm referenced evaluation compares students' performances to one another. Norm referenced evaluation determines the highest and lowest performing students. This method is used to understand how students' scores compare to a predefined population with similar experiences. For instance, a student's assessment score could be compared to the scores of students in the class. Another example, a student's assessment score could be compared to the scores of students who took the same course in previous years. In short, remember that norm reference tests make comparisons between individuals. The key term here is comparison between individuals, okay? Since the test item shows that Teacher K wants to compare his students' performance to other students, there is a comparison. And indeed, the answer is in letter D, norm referenced evaluation. Letter A, authentic evaluation, is not the correct answer. Authentic tests are usually more realistic, more situated. They have the learner perform the task that is the true target of instruction. For example, an authentic test of baking a cake would have the student actually bake a cake rather than write down the steps in baking a cake. Authentic tests are usually more valid because they closely match the test to realistic conditions. Unfortunately, the test item shows no hint that Teacher K is using an authentic test. That is why authentic evaluation is not needed. This signifies that letter A, authentic evaluation, is not the correct answer. Letter B, formative evaluation, is also not the correct answer. Formative evaluation involves the collection of data and information during the development process that can be used to improve the effectiveness of the instruction. Formative means that the instructional materials are in their formative or early stages, and evaluation refers to the process of gathering data to determine the strengths and weaknesses of instruction. Thus, formative evaluation is a judgment of the strengths and weaknesses of instruction in its developing stages for the purpose of revising the instruction to improve its effectiveness and appeal. Unfortunately, in this test item, the formative assessment or even the summative assessment already happened. So there's no need for formative evaluation anymore. Therefore, letter B, formative evaluation, is not the correct answer. Letter C, criterion referenced evaluation, is also not the correct answer. Criterion referenced evaluation evaluates the learning of students against a set of pre-specified qualities or criteria without reference to the achievement of others. From the definition itself, without reference to the achievement of others, it is clear that it is not about comparing students' performance to the performance of others. It is based on the assumption that learning objectives can be predetermined and that given sufficient time and proper reinforcement, nearly all students can meet the objective. Undoubtedly, the letter C, criterion referenced evaluation, is not the correct answer. Let's move on to test item number 4. Which is a valid assessment tool if you want to find out how well your students can speak extemporaneously. A. Performance test in extemporaneous speaking. B. Written quiz on how to deliver an extemporaneous speech. C. Display of speeches delivered. Or D. Writing speeches. The correct answer to this test item is in letter A. Question number 4 is very logical. If you want your students to improve their skills, of course, you let them perform an activity. In this test item, students' extemporaneous speaking skills need to be assessed. That is why the obvious assessment tool is to conduct a performance test in extemporaneous speaking. Okay? Extemporaneous speeches are not read or memorized. It is a well-prepared speech that relies on research, clear organization, and practiced delivery. Extemporaneous speakers need to stay in the moment and be able to think on their feet, a process that can be stressful but can allow a high level of spontaneity leading to a natural or conversational style. It is evident that the performance test in extemporaneous speaking is the correct answer. Letter B, a written quiz on how to deliver an extemporaneous speech is not the correct answer. It is ironic, right? You want to assess the speaking skills of your students, but you do it in a written quiz way? A written quiz involves writing rather than doing something practical or giving spoken answers. Giving them a written quiz for an extemporaneous speaking task is not effective, specifically asking them how to write or how to deliver one. That is why written quiz on how to deliver an extemporaneous speech is not what we're looking for. Letter C, display of speeches delivered is also not the correct answer. It only allows students to view previous speeches from different speakers. It motivates them, but it does not directly assess the extemporaneous speaking skills of the students themselves. It's like only providing them some motivation. Students will just passively learn from the previous speeches instead of actually doing an extemporaneous speech. Therefore, it is not the correct answer. Lastly, we have letter D. Writing speeches is also not the correct answer. Imagine, you need to assess the speaking skills of your students, but instead, you give them a written activity? That is wrong. Speech writing is the process of writing something that is generally meant to be delivered to a large audience. Speech writing is more or less like an essay writing with an aim to either convince someone of a certain viewpoint or make a public statement. Is speaking and writing the same? No, right? That is why letting the students write their speech is not the correct answer. Everyone, here ends my rationale for today. Let us study intently so that in our upcoming quiz next week, we will survive. Thank you. Bye-bye.